Dear all, warmly welcome to our Climate University webinar. The purpose of this webinar is to get higher education staff, especially higher education organizers and teachers, to get to know about the opportunities that our Climate University network offers. So what kind of materials, courses and practices do we have to offer for the higher education institutions. I am Laura Riuttanen. I'm a university lecturer in atmospheric sciences at the University of Helsinki, and I am the coordinator of the Climate University network. The schedule of today is such that I will first introduce Climate University network in general, and then we will go to the course introductions, so that we have 4 slots. In the very first slot, we introduce you the newest Climate University courses, Sustainable Consumption, Forests and Climate Change, and PlanetaryHealth.now. And then we have a break. In the second slot, we introduce you Climate.now, Biodiversity.now, Sustainable.now, and Circular.now. Then we again have a break. And in the third slot, we introduce you Solutions.now, SystemsChange.now, and Leadership for Sustainable Change. And after the break, ClimateComms.now, Statistical Tools for Climate and Atmospheric Science, and Living with Changing Climate. And after every presentation, you will have an opportunity to ask. There is a Q&A opportunity in the chat, and if the time allows, we can also let you ask your question yourself. I will be moderating these questions. And then we also have here Juliana Fridriksen and Sini Bäckström from the University of Helsinki, who are responding in the chat. This event is recorded, so you can also later on find these presentations from the Climate University YouTube channel. So our Climate University network wants to be a brave forerunner in educating active sustainability makers for the society and business. And we have co-defined our values to be rethink and respect for planet and people, science-based trustworthiness, openness and sharing, interdisciplinary and cross-boundary collaboration, as well as bravery. And Climate University is a network of 29 higher education institutions in Finland to develop climate change and sustainability education in higher education. And in practice, we have cross-study agreements, which means that all students from our network member institutions can take Climate University courses from each other's curricula for free. And we have co-produced a set of online course materials that are free to use. They are CC licensed, so we encourage teachers and education organizers to get to know these materials and use them in their teaching. And today we will hear how different higher education institutions and teachers have been utilizing these courses in their teaching. We also organize joint courses between institutions. We have a teacher network to support each other, and we also provide communication support for our members. University of Helsinki is coordinating this network. We are currently also part of Atmosphere and Climate Competence Center as one of the impact tasks of this Finnish research flagship. Previously, we have got major funding from the Ministry of Education and Culture, as well as Finnish Innovation Fund, Sitra. And in addition to these, individual courses and materials have various funders and funding from different sources. And every partner in the network has 2 coordinators, 1 coordinator and 1 vice coordinator, who are your main contact points regarding Climate University network. So please find these persons from our website. And here are our current network members, so 29 higher education institutions in Finland, and the cross-study agreements mean that all students from all of these institutions have this opportunity to take Climate University courses from each other's curricula for free. Our Climate University courses are built based on these principles, so they are all open online educational materials. They aim to be impactful, related to climate and sustainability topics based on latest science, aiming at solutions and action. They are all produced in multidisciplinary collaboration of several institutions in Finland, so that we have always tried to find the best experts of different fields to come together and work on new transdisciplinary materials. And they are based on solid pedagogy and all aim to be reflective, and so that even though we are handling with challenging and difficult topics, we always have hope and positive visions as the final outcome to the students. And here is our current set of courses. We have 14 courses in total, and all of them are open educational resources, and our network members organize higher education courses based on them that are from 2 till 5 ECTS credits each. And you can find these materials from our website www.climateuniversity.fi. And how a student can then take Climate University courses. First, they can look at their own higher education institution curricula, what kind of Climate University courses there are. Or then they can take Climate University courses from another Climate University member institution's curricula via these cross-study agreements. If a person who is not registered to any university wants to take these courses, many of our Climate University courses are also offered via open universities. Or then anyone can just study independently the open educational resources without getting any official university credits out of them. And how can you teach Climate University courses? You can have your own course in your own institution. You can also offer it to others via the cross studies. But then we also highly encourage teachers to co-teaching with other teachers from other higher education institutions. We have very good examples and experiences of that. But then you have to remember that only one higher education institution can be responsible for the cross studies. So this is something to agree with the teachers and institutions. But we have worked so that the other partners then register their own students and own credits, and one partner takes the responsibility of the cross studies. And when a teacher wants to have a Climate University course, we offer copies of the course materials in the DigiCampus platform. It's a module-based environment, and we give the teacher the responsibility and freedom to modify the materials and set the assignment deadlines and what kind of assignments or grading they want to have on the platform. And we have teacher network to support the planning of the course. So to stay up to date what's happening in the Climate University network, we have our website where you find all the courses and necessary information. We also have a blog where we collect all the topical information about our activities. We have an email list. Please join if you're not yet in the email list. We also have a separate list for the coordinators. we have a Climate University email address and a brand new Instagram account, so please follow us also on Instagram. From our YouTube channel, you find the educational video material in our courses, but also some other materials like the recording of these events. We also have a LinkedIn group you are welcome to join, and a Teams channel for the coordinators and responsible teachers of Climate University courses in different member institutions. And in this Teams channel, we also have channels for all the Climate University courses, where we collect, for example, the update needs of the courses, or teachers can share best practices and further ideas related to the courses. In our current strategy, we have also established action groups, and these 6 action groups meet a couple of times per year to develop our network practices and collaborations with other networks and stakeholders. So if you are willing to join Climate University Action, please find here the link where you can register and join. So if you are interested in teaching Climate University courses, please be in contact with us via email. We can help you further. We have this Climate University Teams area for teachers where you can get started. We also have a Climate University Network Guide, or so-called Teachers Guide. It's currently in revision, but it will soon be available in this Climate University Teams area. And then we have an annual meeting in the autumn where the teachers of the courses meet, and it's an excellent place to get to know other teachers and their practices and discuss the courses further. And that being said, registration is now open for our next annual meeting that is to be held in Lappeenranta in the beginning of November, and there we organize the course meetings, also meetings of the action groups, and then we have a topic, play to learn, so how to utilize gamification and playfulness in sustainability learning, and you also get to try out different sustainability related games in practice. So you're warmly welcome. So that was it from my side. If you have any questions, you are very welcome to post them to the Q&A chat, and we will stay here answering them. But let's now go to the actual topic of today. So we are waiting forward to hear more about the Climate University courses. And our first course is Sustainable.now, and we have here Sonja Amanda who will tell us more about this, sustainable consumption. And we have here Sonja Amanda who will tell us more about this fresh new Climate University course. Welcome, Sonja.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so delighted to be here, and thank you, Laura, for leading the Climate University the way that you have for so many years. So I think I'll just go to the next slide because it has a little bit more of the initial content. So sustainable consumption was created in partnership. I only put the Helsinki logo, but it was created in partnership with Aalto University, and it is created to be a political, economic, social science course that would help students understand the UN SDG about sustainable consumption and production, which is where our logo came from. And just in terms of the course description, we're looking at how the impact of individuals' dietary choices on global carbon gas emissions and the conceptual course structure can be applied to other domains that would beyond dietary choices and the emissions from agriculture. I just want to say a couple things. Right now, I'm on leave at Cambridge University, and I was just in Glasgow talking about climate change and the need to have different energy solutions. And I got to talk about the Climate University and to mention how important in Finland this initiative to have open access courses that are actually available globally, even beyond Finland, how important that is. And I'm hoping to introduce the concept into Cambridge. So just to show that I think this is such a path runner, a leader in terms of where other countries can get initiatives in terms of having impact on climate change. Just looking at my notes. Yeah, we are in the Open University, and the course is actually open at the moment. And I'll talk a little bit more about how that whole learning by doing and the playful gamification, how that's integrated into the concept for our course. So now we can go to the next slide. So the course content is created, again, it's within social science and political economy. So we're looking at what consumption is within the framework of marketplaces. So we first start out just defining what sustainable consumption is from the perspective of market capitalism. Then we have to go back to the foundations of data science for sustainability. And most importantly, we're interested in what kind of data sources are there so that people can understand not just individual impact, but how it aggregates to have this massive impact that's planetary and then leads to the climate crisis. Then we also talk about the tragedy of the commons, which is a concept that is squarely within political science and in economics. And then we develop some basic economic tools that are accessible. You don't have to have a master's degree or a bachelor's degree in economics or in political science, but to look at how we can see that the impact of people on the environment can be either positive or negative, and that that's not usually priced. When we buy a liter of fuel, we are not paying for the impact that will have on ultimately helping to contribute to extreme weather events. Then we talk about how it sounds really fancy, negligibility and anti-rival goods, but the basic concept is that a lot of people really want to have a difference when it comes to climate, but nobody acting alone, unless you're maybe a billionaire, nobody acting alone can actually have that impact. And so we're trying to counter that sense of desperation and hopelessness that individuals can have, just feeling the problem is overwhelming. Because we're moving in a space of having gamification, and we integrated an app, and we're using the latest technology that is a form of community cryptocurrency, which is actually an Ethereum token. And this is in the way of showing through an app that you can measure, record, and validate individual purchase consumption choices, and how this new distributed ledger technology can be triple entry bookkeeping that can help to develop an accountability system. And we conclude talking about Elinor Ostrom's polycentric mode of governance that shows that these tools can be integrated to have a more effective strategy for governing this environmental atmospheric commons that we need for the planet to continue breathing essentially and surviving. On the next slide, then, we have the learning objectives, and they're basically taken so that it breaks down module by module, but it's a really well thought out curriculum. And Laura, I was really glad you went through that slide that showed that the rigorous pedagogic strategies that the Climate University uses. We definitely, in going through the development of our content, we're really aware of meeting all of those pedagogic goals of the Climate University. So this just states if for students who are getting interested in the class, what they can expect that they would master after they have taken the course. So we go from basics, looking at how you get the data that would be necessary to track the impact of greenhouse gases on the atmosphere. And that is necessary, especially when we know that some leaders of important countries are saying outright that climate change is a hoax, to really go down to the foundations and to build up for students why we should have so much confidence that this is a huge problem that we need to address now. The tragedy of the commons is actually quite a complex set of concepts, so that when students have taken this, they'll be able to be able to discuss and master that concept of what this global environmental tragedy of the commons is. The difference between positive and negative externalities, which are impacts that we have on other people that are not directly cost into how economic pricing is occurring, so that you can cause disruptions for others and never even be held accountable, and then leading to that set of concepts of how we can build toward being accountable ourselves to have positive impact on those around us. Then this idea of negligibility is really important, because many times people, the idea is that the reason we have collective action failure in terms of, for example, the climate disaster, is that people want a free ride. And the idea is that I want to continue consuming as much as possible and to put as much carbon in the atmosphere because that suits my lifestyle. And what we are wanting to show is that many people are not trying to free ride. They just feel completely helpless and unable to tackle the enormity of the problem, and distinguishing between those two, and then showing that we have tools that can deal with this problem of feeling too insignificant to have any impact. That's sort of the central feature of our course, to be optimistic about how collectives, for example, people in Finland, can have a big difference even locally, and that can add up if others use that example. The anti-rival goods are those that are not scarce, and we look at environmental security as something that is not a zero-sum good. If we can have environmental security and if we can stop those extreme weather events, that's a win-win situation, and it's very important to go through how those micro actions can add up to being mutually beneficial and not mutually subtractive, which is the foundational theory of economics, that resources are scarce and that you are always competing for them. Then finally, I already mentioned how we're using the new accounting systems. I'm looking at the time. I think I need to be wrapping up. So in the polycentric governance, I already mentioned that. So then on the next slide, I talk about how the background was developed, and just to mention that we were part of a huge ERC Horizon 2020 project, and that we were doing an experiment to show how individuals could get involved and make a difference. Our class integrates an app that was specially designed to be a teaching app. And if you are in Helsinki, you can use the app in any of the Unicafe outlets. Unicafe partnered with us. If you're around Finland, more generally, you can use the app on an at-home basis. And everybody can do this using independent studies. We have a core of our TAs that are able to take questions by email, and I get involved in those conversations as well. The means of completion is quizzes that are throughout the modules, and then students are able to either take an essay assignment if they don't want to use the app, or they can complete the course by just validating meal choices on the app. And I think that wraps it up, so that there might be a minute for a Q&A.
Thank you so much, Sonia. If you have any questions to Sonia, please post to the Q&A. Currently, there are no questions, but I hope Sonia can stay for some more minutes if there are any questions coming.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Anna Lintunen, who will tell us about the Forests and Climate Change course.
Yes, thank you, and good morning, everyone. Yes, just please put the next slide. Yeah, so this is a new course about the relationships between forests and climate. And on this course, the student will learn the various climate impacts of forests and how different forest management practices affect the climate impacts of forests. And there are no prerequisites on this course. Based on the let's say, final exercise, there are students with forest sciences background, there are students with atmospheric sciences background, maybe those are the majority, but then there are also students with very various backgrounds, also with no science background. I mean natural science. Then the next slide, please. Yeah, these are the people behind the course. I also want to shortly say that this course was, let's say, produced as part of a Resource Council of Finland funded project related to green and digital transition funding. And it was really nice because this way we could also get colleagues from Natural Resources Institute Finland and Finnish Meteorological Institute to contribute to build this course with us. Next, please. So here you can see the course content. So there is first introduction, then carbon and water mediated impacts of forests on climate, albedo and aerosol mediated impacts of forests on climate, then section on forest ecosystem and biodiversity, section on forest use, then on modeling forest climate interactions, and finally example cases of forest use and their climate impacts. Next slide, please. So here a bit more details about the learning outcomes. So the student will be familiar with various climate impacts of forests, will be familiar with real-life decisions and forest management practices done related to forests and their impact on climate. The student knows how to critically examine public discussion on the roles of forests and forest management effects on climate change, can reflect on different values related to forests, and can explain the linkages between forest, climate change, and biodiversity. Next, please. Yes. Here are shortly the course practices. So this is a course that the students can take independently. So there is no real-time interaction with teachers, but of course they can always ask questions from me when needed by email. There are each of these course sections that we went through. They are followed by a quiz, and the student need to pass those to get to the final exercise. And the final exercise is then something that I am evaluating. And after that, I give them the credits. Of course, they can also skip the quizzes and the exercise if they do not want to get the credits and just want to go through the materials. Yeah, next, please. Yeah, then some experiences from the first year. So we had a pilot in autumn 2024. We had then 27 students who finalized the pilot course and gave quite detailed feedback. This was really good. We were then modifying the course materials based on the feedback we got. And then we had first kind of actual semester in spring 2025, and we had 90 students who finalized the course. They mainly came from the University of Helsinki, but then I listed here the other organizations. So there were some students from University of Eastern Finland, Vaasa University, LUT, Tampere, Aalto, HAMK, Jyväskylän yliopisto, and Kaakkois-Suomen ammattikorkeakoulu. Next slide, please. Yeah, I wanted to bring some feedback. This is not actual feedback in the sense that it would be anonymous, because this is related to the final exercise. There is also the challenge of using AI, and we wanted to really avoid that, to see that the students actually understood the main bringings from the course. So in the final exercise, there are short kind of example viewpoints of 4 persons on forest use. And then the students are asked to reflect their own values and ideas on those, and also to summarize the course and tell what new they learned, or if the course changed in any way their thinking about forest use. I will not read these all, but just a couple of examples. So somebody wrote that in this course, my understanding of the impacts of forests on climate has grown as I learned about different cooling and warming processes and how forests and the ways they are managed can impact the climate. I recognize now better the two-way relationship of climate change and forests, and how the physics of atmosphere are linked to forests. And then I read another example on this page. One thing that surprised me during the course was how much forests help fight climate change. I knew they were important, but I didn't realize how big their role is in storing carbon. I also learned about different ways to manage forests, like continuous cover forestry, where not all trees are cut at once. And the next page, please. Yeah, so also few kind of, this was like what they in fact learned from the course, but then there were also these kind of comments that are related to like how they think about forest is changing. So as an example, as I've learned more about these intricate relationships, my appreciation for forests as living ecosystems under stress has deepened. This knowledge has transformed my views on how we should use forests. And another one, I'm not only taking away new knowledge, but also motivation to organize our own forest even more consciously, more naturally, and more sustainably. After all, the forest is not only a place of retreat and the basis of life, but also a responsibility towards future generations. So I have to say that as a teacher, reading all the kind of feedback in the final assignment is really nice. And gives us very important, in a way, feedback that the course is clearly needed. And it's also nice that, of course, when there are forest sciences, I mean, people with background in forest sciences, for them, the new things are quite different than for those who are coming, for example, from atmospheric sciences or with no sciences background. But it seems that everybody are able to take something new from the course, and that's the most important thing. I think that was my last slide. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. And again, if you have any questions to Anna, please write to the chat, and I hope Anna can also stay for some more minutes. There is now Sonia writing that it's really inspiring feedback and very important that we collect also such feedback from the courses. Our next speaker is Samuel Sandbergen, who will tell us about the very, very new Climate University course, Planetary Health Now. Welcome, Samuel.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Yes, so I could begin by introducing myself. I'm an MD. I'm specialized in rheumatology and general medicine, and I'm a postdoctoral researcher at Tampere University and a visiting researcher at the University of Helsinki. And I have been involved in the teaching of planetary health at the University of Helsinki since the beginning of last year. Now, I guess that some of you may ask what planetary health is. So it's a rather new concept. It was introduced 10 years ago by the Rockefeller Foundation Lancet Commission on Planetary Health, and it is defined as the health of human civilization and the natural systems upon which it depends. So basically, it relates to anthropogenic environmental change and the health and welfare and its health and welfare impacts, also the environmental impact of the healthcare sector and the potential for transformative change. The MOOC is 3 credits. It is asynchronous and it's peer-reviewed, and it will launch in, as Laura said, it's very, very new. It will actually launch in a few weeks. The exact date is not yet set, but hopefully this month. And the language is English, and there are no prerequisites for taking the course. Next slide, please. So, as I said, I've been teaching planetary health at the University of Helsinki since the beginning of last year at the medical faculty. But given this field's multidisciplinary approach and its solutions orientation and its holistic nature, I felt that this would be suitable for a wider learner community. And being a Climate University alumni myself, I thought that, well, this would be a perfect fit for the Climate University, and here we are now. And given that I'm very much a generalist, even though I created the material, it has of course been reviewed and greenlit by a large number of subject matter experts. And yes, next slide, please. So the MOOC consists of 5 modules and a final module, which is more of a feedback and reflection module. So the first one relates to various concepts like climate change and biodiversity loss, sustainability, planetary boundaries, etc. The second module relates to the health impacts of climate change, heat waves, extreme weather events, various vector-borne diseases, but also the mental health impacts of climate change, and not just, the psychiatric outcomes, but also the rational emotional responses to the ongoing environmental crisis. So both positive emotions like hope and agency and empathy, and also, of course, the ones that perhaps come to mind more often, like climate anxiety and fear. So those will be discussed in that module. The third module relates to other environmental change and health. So, for example, the effects of biodiversity loss and various kinds of pollution. The fourth module relates to the environmental impact of the healthcare sector, of pharmaceuticals, and of our food systems. And finally, the fifth module, where do we go from here? It focuses on becoming an agent of change and on equity, on justice, and on nature-based solutions. Next slide, please. So one of the great things about the MOOC platform is that it's possible to include so many kinds of content. So, of course, the MOOC contains text and images, but it also includes videos, both external videos, but also 6 or 7 that we produced for this MOOC. One of them is shown in this image in the lower left. It's a still from a panel discussion on becoming an agent of change. And you might also see the QR code in the bottom middle of the page. And after this entire session is over, you may choose to visit that QR code, because then there the panel discussion is linked. And at the same QR code, you will also find a podcast episode that we created for this MOOC on the health impacts of spending time in nature. And then we previously also discussed gamification. And in this course, we're using ThingLink, so these interactive environments that the students can explore by clicking and opening boxes, etc., and looking around in various environments. So that's also part of the MOOC. And finally, we also have a chatbot, which is used in one of the 2 studies that are part of the MOOC. Next slide, please. Yes. So the students that take this MOOC may voluntarily participate in 1 or 2 research studies. The first one relates to pedagogical methods in the teaching of planetary health, and specifically the method of learning by teaching, because as you may know, teaching someone else is a effective way of learning yourself and gaining knowledge by teaching someone else. But we want to know whether this extends to artificial learners as well. So what we did is that we used the MOOC platform's own AI chatbot function, and we used a prompt to program it to act as a learner and to use Socratic dialogue. So it asks follow-up questions. So the students are tasked with explaining a specific concept for the chatbot, and we will then assess the students' experiences, whether they felt that this was a worthwhile experience and that they gained knowledge from it. And also, we will also, of course, address the environmental impacts of large language model as part of this assignment. The second study relates to climate emotions. As I said, the environmental crisis can give rise to several types of emotions, both positive and negative. And it has been previously shown that environmental education may help students to handle their negative climate emotions and also find agency. So we are doing a intervention study. There will be a survey at the beginning and the end of the course. And the idea is to see how this kind of education impacts climate emotions, coping mechanisms, and agency. So that is the second study. And that's also one of the reasons why the MOOC hasn't launched yet, because we are waiting for the final green light from the ethics committee to run both of these studies as part of the MOOC. But hopefully we are looking at a launch in just a few weeks. And if anyone wants to collaborate regarding this, or I mean the modularity of the material makes that it can be used in other contexts as well. So please stay in touch. And the QR code also leads to my contact info. And I'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samuel. We are all waiting forward for the new course to launch. It will be very, very interesting and exciting. So any questions, welcome in the chat. Currently there are no questions, but I hope you can also stay for some more minutes if there are questions coming. Next, we have a short break and we will continue in a couple of minutes, 10 to 10. And then we will hear about the course Climate.now. Okay, it's time to continue with the Climate University course introductions. And we will next go to our very first Climate University course, Climate.now. And Jussi Malila from the University of Oulu will tell us more about it. Welcome, Jussi.
Thank you, Laura. So it is a very pleasure to introduce this course, since as Laura mentioned, this is the first course of the Climate University. So most of the things that we have done is built upon this course. So if you can get this next slide. So my name is Jussi Malila. I'm University lecturer at the University of Oulu, as Laura already mentioned, and I have been now giving this course in different forms. So 3 times as a university course and also 5 times for senior secondary school students. So this is a basic course about climate change. Discusses climate change phenomenon, what it causes and what are the consequences, and also how we can mitigate the consequences or adapt to those. And this is done in very multidisciplinary manner so that the course should be open for everyone. So no prerequisites are there, and it's currently offered by several institutions in the higher education and in very different forms. So we have forms from 2 to 5 ECTS, so either 2 or 5. And then we have also course given in English, Finnish, and Swedish. If I can get the next slide. So a bit more on the background. So everything actually started more than 10 years ago when the Finnish Universities Rectors Councils, UNIFIL, had roundtable discussions about the state of climate and sustainability education at the Finnish universities. And as a result of that discussion, a survey was concluded at all universities, and based on, again, the results of that survey, it was decided that we need this kind of general courses on climate change and sustainability issues for all, open for all university students at that point. This has been now widened later on. But as a result, Sitra funded development of first 3 courses, so Climate.now, Circular.now, and Leadership for Sustainable Change. And after that, Climate.now has become a very important part of the Climate University, so it's also essential prerequisite for many of our advanced courses that we will hear more about today. And in fact, it can be seen as a core course of the Climate University in this sense. So, as mentioned, it's offered by many different institutions of higher education, and obviously there are several different implementations of Climate.now, and it can be given in several different formats. So as already mentioned, we have 3 language versions. So we have the Finnish version, English version, and also Swedish version. We have MOOC versions, but also implementations that are more heavily led by a teacher. And the course width is also, it can be a 2 ECTS credits if it's a MOOC course, or just the online part, maybe with some weekly meetings, or then as a 5 ECTS credits if it has a group work and a seminar presentations included. So it's a nominally intermediate level course. However, here also it depends now a bit on the university or University of Applied Science who gives the course that at what level is actually placed. And there's a separate version also for senior secondary schools and a wider audience, and I will return to that at the end of this presentation. So, course content, I tried to summarize it into one sentence. It became quite long, but I can say that Climate.now gives an overview of the scientific basic and already seen and predicted changes in nature and society, together with the needs of climate change mitigation adaptation at the level acceptable to all higher education students. At least this is what it is meant to do, and I think we have done pretty good with this course, based on the course feedback so far. And the learning outcomes, we actually have several, but these are the 3 main learning outcomes for this course that have been developed when the course is developed also. So the first, to understand the climate change from different perspectives and create connections between different perspectives and look the solutions for the climate challenge in a variety of ways. And also then at the individual level to reflect one's own role in climate change and apply what has been learned in this course into one's own field. And also then put these things together to examine different perspectives, solutions, information sources, and correctly depend on climate change critically, and also to understand perspectives of other peoples coming from other fields to the climate change. And in practice, the course material for the main course is in DigiCampus, and I just have a screenshot about it. So it's organized into content areas. So we have basically 8 content areas. The main content, of course, is given in the first 7 ones. So climate change, what is it about? It's all more about observed changes, recently observed changes, and greenhouse effect, greenhouse gases. Then we delve into climate systems, so discuss about the carbon cycle, climate feedbacks, etc., and the future of the climate. Then there are climate models, emission scenarios, and predicted changes discussed. So these are the so-called natural scientific part of this course. Then we continue to impacts, and there are 2 main topics. They are the ecological impacts, so impacts on ecosystems, ecosystem services, and then impacts to the societies. And then we are in the mitigation, changes to transform the energy system is really highlighted. In the adaptation, then we think more about the political actions required, and in big issues, we tend to discuss some topical issues like the food security and climate change, forests and climate change, etc. And then we have applied perspectives from different fields and assignments. And this is the online content. So this is the basis of the 2 ECTS credit version. So in each end of each content area, there's a quiz. Students must get at least 70% correct from each quiz to pass the course. And of course, there's a question bank, so they can try as many times as they want. Then at the end of each book, so each of these content area contains 2 to 3 books. And they each end with assignments. And where students and studies assignments is mainly the learning diary. So the learning diary is a compulsory part of the most implementations, not the MOOC versions, but all the other ones. So basically, a learning diary, we request the student to reflect the learning when reading the online material, when participating to weekly meetings, if there are such on the implementation, and also then to answer selected assignments from the books at the learning diary. And as mentioned, most of course implementations, we do have these weekly meetings. They can be physical meetings or online meetings. And then for those who take the 5 credits version of the course, then there's also a group work and 2 presentations. So, or at least in most implementations, again, the material has turned out to be quite flexible. So we have quite different implementations based on this material. But I would say in so-called basic implementations, we have 2 presentations. First one is that students who come from different fields can discuss about how climate change is seen in their own field. And the other one is on then a seminar presentation on some special topic. And we give some special topics, and then it's up to the course responsible teacher to think out what would be the best topics for next year's implementation. And some of the course highlights I would like to mention based on these are that we have had very engaging activities during the weekly meetings. We have several activities to propose to the teacher, but also teachers, of course, free to think their own. And then we have a lot of interaction with students who come from different fields. For example, in my implementation at University of Oulu, I have had students from all faculties involved. And it's very nice to have discussion between people coming from different fields. And then, of course, the group work presentations, especially the climate change in your own field, there are some very creative and nice presentations on that. At least it have been in my implementation. And then I will mention shortly about this Lukiolaisen Ilmasto.nyt. So based on this Climate.now material, we have created a separate version, mainly for senior secondary school students, also students at the vocational institutes, and basically for everyone interested, because these are offered also through the Open University. And this is basically the same material than Climate.now used to be. It has been just turned into smaller pieces, so it follows more like a structure of a common high school level textbook, I would say. And then when we had the updates of each material, so there's now bit differences in the context. So some material has been added to this Lukiolaisen Ilmasto.nyt that doesn't exist in Climate.now, and then Climate.now, when it has been updated, then there's some material that hasn't been, at least not yet, incorporated into this Lukiolaisen Ilmasto.nyt. But basically, these are completely comparable courses. They are just organized in different manner. And this is given only in online course mainly. So, do you have any questions? We have forthcoming implementations for both. I will give one implementation starting in the second period, so after the so-called autumn break. And then for Climate.now, we have actually implementations going on both continuously and in different periods organized by different institutes of higher education. For this Lukiolaisen Ilmasto.nyt, there's implementation offered at least by our Open University starting around beginning of December and ending at the end of February.
Thank you so much, Jussi. Our next speaker is Juliana Fredriksen, and she will tell us about Biodiversity.now course.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Juliana Fredriksen. I am a doctoral researcher here at the University of Helsinki, and today I will introduce the Biodiversity.now course, in which I had the chance to co-teach and co-develop with my colleagues from the University of Eastern Finland. Before that, I could say I could provide a little bit of a live feedback from the Climate.now course, because I was a student of this course during my master's degree in UEF, and maybe this could be helpful for someone who is wondering how to implement these materials in their courses. For example, back in UEF, my teacher decided to utilize the materials of Climate University or the Climate.now course in his own course. So for a 5-credit course, 2 of those were used for completing the Climate.now course. But now back to the biodiversity now. We can move on to the next slide so I can show you the overview of the course. This is a 2-credit course that is available in both English and Finnish language, and it's currently offered by the University of Helsinki and UEF. This is a basic course about biodiversity and biodiversity laws, and in which the students will learn what biodiversity is, its importance, why and how biodiversity is being threatened, and what are the consequences of biodiversity loss. And here we take various perspectives, for example, from the environmental perspective, but also the impacts of human well-being. Then this course is has a multidisciplinary approach to biodiversity from micro to macro. So we have, for example, learning materials that will cover molecular biology, plant physiology, ecology in general, and also indigenous studies, health perspectives, and so on. So it's very multidisciplinary in that sense. And in this way, we also encourage students from different backgrounds to take the course. And there are no prerequisites for this course. Here's the background of the course. So this was an initiative of Climate University, Una Europa, and Biodiversity Education Network. It was funded by the Ministry of Education and Culture in Finland, Sitra, Nordplus, and the Service Center for Continuous Learning. Sitra is a very interesting partner because we also use some of their materials in our course. The course was created in 2022, and it was a joint production of over 45 experts from different institutions, among which we have the University of Helsinki, University of Eastern Finland, and the Complutense University of Madrid. But we also have learning materials, for example, the videos from different experts in other partner universities here in Finland. In 2023, the course had major developments, very important ones. The first one was the creation of a MOOC, which is currently how the University of Helsinki utilizes as the teaching method. And then we also had the translation of the course into Finnish language, which is now hosted by UEF. So for students interested in taking this course in Finnish language, they could do so by taking the course at UEF. Here's the course structure and the content of the course. So in total, we have 6 modules. The first one is an introduction to biodiversity. So students will learn the basic concepts and the key vocabulary. The second module is about the biodiversity crisis. And in this module, students will understand why we are calling this a biodiversity crisis. And this is one of my personal favorite modules because we have very interesting learning tasks. One of them is an interview with someone older from different generation. So you could compare the different understandings of the biodiversity concepts. And the second one is when the students reflect on their own values as well. And then and there's an activity in which they can take a picture of an ecosystem, and then we explore the biodiversity in this. In module 3, students will learn about the threats and the consequences of biodiversity loss. So we introduce the concept of the drivers of biodiversity loss, one of them being climate change, of course. In module 4, we have an approach to biodiversity conservation, and in this module we bring successful cases of biodiversity conservation, and also different ways one can influence in many different levels, for example, in policymaking or activism, through art, education, citizen science, and so on. And then in module 5, we have biodiversity here and now. And I checked that the latest version of UEF also addresses the future. So biodiversity here now and also in the future. And in this module, we also approach in a multidisciplinary way. For example, one of the reading materials is the Gupta report of the economics of biodiversity, for example. And then lastly, in Module 6, students are invited to reflect on their learning journey and have some exercises there. Well, here are the learning outcomes in more detail. So after the course, the student is able to recognize the reasons for the biodiversity crisis, and importantly, understand why this is a crisis, all the consequences that we have for environment, for humans, and more than humans. We explore students' own connection to nature and the diverse values that they assign to biodiversity. We also touch upon in ecosystem services, for example, when invite students to reflect on that. So this is one of the learning outcomes. Students also, at the end of the course, can recognize this diversity of approaches to biodiversity, understanding that there are different tools to assess it, and so on, and apply what they learn to their own field of study or work. And in practical terms, this is a self-regulated course, so it's all automated. It's self-study, self-paced. The essay tasks are peer-reviewed. And the quizzes are also automated. The assessment is pass or fail. And in DigiCampus, the students need to fill out a form when they finish the course, so that they receive the credits. And then in the MOOC course, the completion is automated. The feedback has been very positive overall. Students say that the course functions really well and it's enjoyable from the beginning. We have a variety of learning approaches, so this course is very holistic because we have video materials, we have reading materials, so for different types of learners. Students consider the quizzes a good way to assess their own learning, and the reflective writing assignment also has received positive feedback. And then just to conclude, this course that I just introduced is what we call the Biodiversity A, which is the intro course. But there's also a possibility of the Biodiversity B course, which is a follow-up course that is currently only taught at UEF. This is a project-based course, so it requires the teacher to be more present. It's not so automated. It has small tasks and group work and a big final project. So in case you're interested, there is also this possibility with a different pedagogical approach. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juliana. And any questions regarding Biodiversity.now course, you are very welcome to put into the chat. Next, we go to the course Sustainable.now, and here we have a very last-minute cancellation. So unfortunately, Miika Marttila from LUT University was not able to join now, and I will briefly explain the Sustainable.now course to you. So Sustainable.now is a course about basics of sustainable development, especially related to climate change. And this course is in the curricula at the LUT University, University of Turku, University of Eastern Finland, University of Helsinki, as well as University of Oulu. And the material is available both in English language as well as Finnish language. And as this is a basic level course, there are no prerequisites for it. This illustration describes how the course is carried out at the LUT University, and unfortunately I cannot tell more in details about it, but here you also see the basic structure of the course. So there are 6 modules. First one is about sustainable development concepts and what is it in general. Then there are 4 aspects of sustainable development. First, ecological sustainability, then social sustainability, economic sustainability, as well as cultural sustainability. And the last module is about sustainable futures. So how do we get there? And different higher education institutions have then a bit different ways of carrying out the course. So if there is contact teaching or online lectures or group work, it varies between the institutions. And LUT University also has a 2-credit extra set. In addition to that, I want to highlight at the University of Helsinki, we have also a MOOC version of this course. So in the 5-credit version, we have a teacher interaction and group work and weekly assignments and weekly meetings. But then we also have a MOOC version, which is asynchronous and can be conducted as independent studies online anytime by the students. And very recently, we have in Helsinki also started international virtual exchanges based on this MOOC course. And here are also examples from the LUT course, so how they have conducted the course. So students study the reading materials independently. They turn in total 6 learning assignments. They peer evaluate 4 essays. They need to pass a course exam and carry out the group work successfully. And each of these study modules, they include an online book that can be used also for independent studying. Then there is a quiz for testing the knowledge and learning tasks. So that was a brief introduction to Sustainable.now, a bit shorter than the other ones because of the missing speaker, but you're welcome to add in the Q&A if you have some further comments or questions regarding that. And next we go to Circular.now, and that will be presented by Laura Lakanen from LUT University.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And hello everyone, my name is Laura Lakanen and I'm going to present you the Circular.now course. I work as a postdoctoral researcher at LUT University, and I've been involved in the course development and teaching now for maybe 8 years. So this is quite familiar for me already. And maybe next slide, please. And this is very basic course or introductory course to circular economy. And this is suitable for everyone, regardless of the field of the study. And the aim is to give understanding on principles of circular economy and understand the importance and practical solutions of circular economy. And in this course, we have 4 different key themes through which the circular economy is discussed. And there are no prerequisites. And this course can be taken as 3-credit course or 5-credit course, and I'm going to tell you about the differences between the scopes later. And this course is also available in English and Finnish, and at the moment it's offered by University of Helsinki, University of Eastern Finland, Hanken, and our LUT University. Next slide, thank you. Maybe some words about the background. So this course has been developed as a part of the project Circular Economy Education for All, and it was mainly funded by Sitra, and there were 4 universities involved in the development work. Lund University, University of Helsinki, Aalto, and University of Eastern Finland. And there were experts from different fields, so that this is very like multidisciplinary course, and there is expertise from different fields. And the first pilot course was launched in 2018, and then there were some modifications done, and then the course has been available since autumn 2019. And next slide, please. So the learning goals of this course are mainly to give a basic understanding on the circular economy model and its basic principles. And it helps students to understand the problems of the current production and consumption patterns. But the main focus is on solutions and how the circular economy can help to solve these problems. And very important point is that in this course we want to give also very practical solutions and help students to understand how they can in practice apply these circular economy principles. And of course, students also get familiar with approaches that could promote the circular economy. And as I mentioned, there are, or I'm not sure if I mentioned already, but there are 4 different subject areas. In this course, we have food systems, forest systems, transportation sector, and sharing economy, and also technical cycles. So in this course, we look at biological cycles and technical cycles, and there are practical solutions for each of these sectors and like specific information how the circular economy can be applied in these different sectors. And this course has a MOOC platform where are a lot of video lectures, then there are a lot of texts, then there are some real-life case examples, also videos from how companies are applying these circular economy practices, and then there are some additional materials which students can read if they are interested to learn more. These MOOC materials can be studied at own pace, and then after each main theme there is a quiz that is automated, and after passing all these 5 quizzes, a student can get a certificate that she or he has passed all these tests. And as we have these 2 scopes, 3 and 5 credit scopes in this course, and this 3 credit course is totally self-study online course, and it includes this MOOC platform and then passing these 5 quizzes. But then we also offer 5 credit course, which includes 4 advanced assignments that are graded and evaluated by a teacher. And these advanced assignments are not just essays. We have tried to develop assignments where students need to in practice apply these circular economy practices, and they can also use their creativity and find new angles to these assignments. There is 1 essay, but then there are some cobweb assignment, and then there are some other modes of assignments as well. So basically the 5-credit course consists of these quizzes and then these assignments. Yes, thank you. And I have now been teaching this course for 8 years in a row, and this has been very popular course, at least in our university. We have got a lot of good feedback from the students, and actually I just tried to evaluate that. I don't even know how many students have been involved in this course, but I think it's quite close to 1,000 or something, because for example now when I'm running this 5-credit course, I have 130 students there. But basically students like very much that they can study at their own pace, but then they also have liked that they get very good understanding on the basics of the circular economy, and it helps them to apply these circular economy principles in their everyday work life or studies, and then they can continue to their further circular economy studies. And also these assignments have got good feedback, and students have enjoyed that they are not just essays, but there are different assignments. And yeah, that was maybe all from my side. And if you have any questions, I can answer.
Thank you so much, Laura. And actually there is already one question to you. So Outi would be interested in knowing how systems thinking is visible in the course Circular.now.
I think there are, as I mentioned, for example, these assignments are very practical, and a student needs to take into account very many perspectives. So they are not just very straightforward assignments. But of course, this system thinking is also included in the DigiCampus or this MOOC platform. And the aim is to give very through these four different themes, very wide perspective on circular economy. But I suggest to get familiar with the materials and see what they look like.
Thank you for the answer. And more questions are also welcome. Welcome to the Q&A. Next we head towards a short break, and after that we will actually hear also about the Systems.Change.now course by Climate University, in addition to Solutions.now and Leadership for Sustainable Change. So let's have a little break now and continue 10:40. Welcome back. We will continue with the Climate University course introductions, and I will remind you that this will be recorded, and recording will be later available at the Climate University YouTube channel. You're also welcome to follow our Climate University blog for updates and register for the email list to get our newsletter and more info on coming activities as well as events. But now I give the floor to Janne Salovaara, who will introduce us to the Solutions.now course. Welcome, Janne.
Hi, hello. I'm Janne Salovaara. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at University of Helsinki, and also a co-coordinator of Climate University, and have been involved with many of Climate University courses. Was also part of the original team putting together the leadership course, but today I'm introducing the Solutions.now course, which I'm gonna teach now for the second time. So I've only been in it for quite a short while, but regardless. Next slide, thank you. So Solutions.now is a project-based course where students can use their knowledge and sort of put their understanding of sustainability and climate change into practice by formulating and suggesting solutions to a stakeholder, which in this course is basically means a client. So in the course every year, there's cases that come that are pitched by different clients that then the students get to work with in interdisciplinary groups. And it's a 5-credit course. It's in English. This next revolution or next version of the course is going to be offered by University of Eastern Finland and University of Helsinki. University of Eastern Finland is going to be the main coordinator of it. And the course was first piloted in 2020. The original institutions part of putting the course together were University of Helsinki, Metropolia, and Lab. So actually then also Turku University of Applied Sciences, so Helsinki University and 3 applied science universities. Next slide, please. So on the DigiCampus platform, there's very little sort of reading material, and instead the course is constructed on a method, meaning that there's a weekly process that is sort of the backbone of the course. There's a personal portfolio for the students to put together throughout the course, which is there's plenty of individual and different kinds of assignments that the students do more or less individually, although of course there's all the time the group work going on, which is the project that's done towards the client. Also, there's regular tutoring sessions with the client, and of course course teachers. So every student group has a tutor or a mentor that is a teacher of the course. And then there's regular feedback from the client and also fellow students. So there are sessions to those that are scheduled in the course. So there's a real-world case or a real-world case where for which the students plan a solution, and basically how it is that the course coordinators asks or contacts different clients, and we ask the clients to present a sustainability related problem or challenge or development idea that they might have within the organization. And from that, they first draft a one-pager that's then uploaded to the course platform for the students to see which kind of clients there are and which kind of cases they're going to work with. And from there, the students are split into different smaller groups that are interdisciplinary. Sometimes there might be even 2 groups of students working for one problem or a challenge, and so on. And how it goes is that the weekly process is such that the first week of the course is this orientation phase, where there's virtual sessions. Of course, it's an online course, but there's course practicalities and team building, or the grouping happens then. Then there's a second and third week framing phase, where there's a virtual workshop with the client, and there's mentoring as well. Then there's a doing phase, weeks 4, 5, and 6, where there's just a bunch of group work. There's a midway seminar where the students get feedback from other students and also from clients. And then there's a final 2-week implementation phase where there's a final presentation from which the students also get feedback, and then they get to submit their final crew project report. Yes. The course learning objectives are listed as creativity, in creativity competence, initiative competence, systems thinking, strategic competence, interpersonal competence. But as said, I think a large part of this is also about the students learning to be a project manager, or sort of like understand that how do you manage even others, but at least yourself well in a project. And a sort of like one highlight I wanted to emphasize is that first workshop that the students get to have with the client, which is that they all join one Zoom session and go into the sort of like respective breakout group, where the students get to reflect the initial ideas of the assignment or the problem that the clients have presented. And I think that's something that is pedagogically meaningful, and of course meaningful thinking of the whole course and the outcome of the courses. But to have that real interaction with the client and sort of like set the whole project, set the whole course from the get-go in the right way, so everything is understood and sort of like what's behind the challenge, even though there is plenty of information that the clients give. It's a very different thing when you can actually have that sort of like face-to-face interaction with them. And even though it's just few hours, I think it's valuable, of course, to the students, and then it's there to make sure that the clients as well will get then something relevant out of the being part of the course. Can I have the next slide? And this is just sort of current developments. As I said, I've only been in it for 2 years, and for the upcoming year is going to be the second. Last year we had quite a list of clients. So we had Ponsse, which is a forest machinery company. We had Heureka, a very well-known science park. We had University of Helsinki pitching their own case from the sustainability department. There was a Love and Anarchy movie festival, sort of like asked suggestions how to cut the emissions and so on and so on. There's POAS, Student Housing Association, Iittala Arabia Hackman Group about the materials, and then this interesting individual artist who was working on a public ceramic art piece and wanted to understand environmental impacts of public art. And yeah, this year we're probably going to do it so that there's going to be just one client, focus on one client, and then separate different themes out of that client's challenges. And we'll try it this year. I like this. I like the ability to develop these courses as well, and see how it would best serve the students and the clients as well, being that this is a project course. And yeah, because this year it's just Eastern Finland and University of Helsinki. So if there's other universities, applied science or such, then please join us. And Nuppu Mielonen is the main coordinator, and I'm a second, but you can be in contact in either one of us. Whether you're also, if you happen to be a client or you want to pitch a challenge, then that's very welcome as well. I think that's the last slide. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Janne. And questions are welcome in the Q&A chat. And I hope Janne can stay for some more minutes to answer the potential questions. Next, we go on to the Systems.Change.now course, and I invite Joula Siponen to tell us more about that.
Yes, thank you, Laura, for inviting me as well here. I'm Joula Siponen, and I'm a doctoral researcher at the University of Helsinki, working on climate change education-related topics, and I've been taking part in teaching of Systems Change course for almost, I think, 4 years already, so throughout my PhD years, and I have been a student on the course as well. I will talk shortly about what this course means and what it includes. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the idea is that since climate change and sustainability issues very much require systems thinking for their solving and for finding solutions for better future, And this course is a course that provides different perspective to systems thinking, and promotes the understanding of the interconnectedness of different issues around climate and sustainability that we are facing today, but also getting different ideas and tools related to systems thinking and how it can be looked at from different perspectives and different disciplines as well. So it is a very interdisciplinary course in that sense. The course has been running already for 5-6 years or so, and it was developed very much in a collaboration between different universities, and as is very useful for the Climate University courses. The idea is that on this course, it is good that the students have some idea of climate change as a phenomena, and the basic courses Climate.now and Sustainable.now are very good prerequisites for this course, so that everybody has some sort of a basic idea of the issues that we are facing, and then can start to think of solutions from the systems thinking perspective. The course is 5 credits, and it's nowadays we have changed to grading it pass or fail, as the idea being that we are talking about issues that are not clearly that there's a right solution or a wrong solution, but we want to promote the students' critical thinking and autonomous thinking as well in this context. The course is held in English, and next time it will be offered in the third period, so starting from January, as a collaboration between the University of Turku, Helsinki, and then Turku AMK, so University of Applied Sciences, Turku. And Aalto University is another university that has been part in developing the course previously and in the very beginning. But a little bit about the learning methods and outcomes. So the course has also evolved during these years, and it has gotten different new elements to it, and new assignments and new teachers. So I want to highlight that this course has been always taught as a collaboration between different universities. And it's been a very fruitful in that sense as well, that it brings very different backgrounds of teachers together, from geography, for example, but also different disciplines that somehow utilize systems thinking or are working with systems, which kind of comprises all different disciplines. But the idea is that on this course, the student will learn basic concepts of systems thinking, and as I mentioned, from a little bit different perspectives. Theoretically, but also thinking about systems analysis and different ways of approaching different systems relevant to sustainability and climate change related issues and challenges. Then the idea is that the students get to understand a bit more why systems thinking is relevant to comprehend these global challenges that we are facing, and what are the kind of implications of these challenges in these eco-social systems, for example, when we are looking at different perspectives together. And that is the whole idea, that the students get a wider perspective to these issues coming from different disciplines as well. And then the idea is that we provide different tools to approach modeling and models, but also keeping it in a level that everybody is regardless of their background, can approach these assignments and so on. And the focus is very much in the group work, which is the idea that we bring together different perspectives in that sense as well. And then the idea also is that through working together in these groups, you get to form a better idea of your own expertise as well, coming from different disciplinary backgrounds, and develop your capabilities as a student for interdisciplinary collaboration, and understand the opportunities for systems change and one's own agency. So this is also one big part of the course. So the course is divided into 3 different themes. There is online material and quizzes as usual for many of the Climate University courses. And the first part is introduction to systems thinking and systems, and how we can divide the structure of systems, for example, how we can look at that. Then there is a big part in the Earth system as well, looking at climate change as connected to the other aspects of the Earth system, and how we can approach that. And then the third theme is looking at more eco-social systems, and as mentioned, topics such as agency and these kind of intentional systems change. And the course is very much about working together And there is the online platform, there is material to read and learn on yourself and on your own time also. But then we have sessions weekly or bi-weekly, depending on how the course is organized. And in those sessions, there is a lot of this kind of interaction together between teachers and the students, and to teach students also working together. So the online events are very important. And then there is the group work that lasts throughout the course, and the students are in their same group throughout, so that they get to know the people and they get to work on different themes together and bring their own expertise to the table as well. And then the important part is also to be reflective and being able to reflect how systems thinking is connected to your previous studies, your previous knowledge and understanding, and how your systems thinking develops. So this learning diary part is very important in that sense. But as a few kind of special highlights, I want to say that we also have last year's had some guest lectures, which has been really fruitful, and the students have very much enjoyed having different perspectives to systems thinking from various fields. For example, this kind of One Health perspective or planetary health perspective has been a really interesting one, since this is also one of the good sides of this course, that we can bring together different teachers from different disciplines who have very different expertise, but everything can be kind of connected through the systems thinking perspectives. Then there is also, as part of the third team of the eco-social systems, we have Futures Negotiation Game, where the students are taking different roles in municipality decision-making, this kind of invented case study that is provided with a lot of material to the students, and then the students get to take their own stance and work for understanding a different perspective that they are given. For example, working as a group of forest owners, and then they have to stand for their own perspective. So this is a very interesting opportunity for the students as well. And of course, we also, as teachers, are always giving short lectures and being present throughout the course, and trying to get to know the students as well and understand their perspectives. So very much for a teacher also, this course has been a learning experience and is something where we co-learn together with the students as well. But that's maybe basic info. If there's questions, I'm happy to answer in the Q&A section.
Thank you, Joula, for introducing us the Systems.Change.now course. Next, I give the floor to Heta Leinonen from Tampere University, who will talk about leadership for sustainable change.
Hi all, my name is Heta Leinonen. I'm a doctoral researcher from Tampere University, and I have been a teacher in this course for 2 years, and I'm also a teacher in this course this academic year as well. The course is called Leadership for Sustainable Change. Next slide, please. The course is a collaboration course. It's offered by Tampere University, University of Helsinki, and Hanken. It's taught in English, and it includes 5 credits. Just to note here that this course has also 2 credits option, which is open for all Climate University network students, as well as via Open University. And this presentation concerns only the 5 credit option. For example, the 2 credit course is run on a different platform. This course is about envisioning a sustainable world and how to achieve this goal. And during the course, the students will learn the current sustainability challenges, meaning what are the great challenges of sustainability and how they are related. Also, the students will learn leadership theories and practice, how to lead change in complex systems, such as utilizing the circular economy, and what skills, knowledge, and attitudes does a professional change maker need. Finally, the students will learn to reflect on sustainability learning, thinking, and action, and how to make and collaborate on a concrete sustainability project plan. Climate.now, Sustainable.now, Circular.now, or similar knowledge should be achieved before taking this course. And the course is aimed at master's level, but it is open for students of all levels and fields. And the course is also available via Open University. And in previous years, about 200 to 300 students have registered for the course, and that's my highlight for this course. Next slide, please. In all, Leadership for Sustainable Change is a course about sustainable world and how to get there. The course has been produced in collaboration with University of Helsinki and Tampere University, and this project has got funding also from the Finnish Innovation Fund, Sitra. And the course is conducted fully online via DigiCampus from January to March, meaning third period in academic year. And this course has also had weekly online sessions. Last year they were on Tuesday afternoons. Few words about the course structure. So the course is divided into an introduction, 3 main study parts, and a final group projects. And the parts, as I said, there are 3 parts. The first is called Challenges of Sustainability. It introduces the background knowledge needed to understand sustainability. And here students learn about the global environmental challenges, principles of sustainability, as well as on the umbrella concept of circular economy. The second part is called Leading Societal Transition. And here students learn about leadership of change and societal transitions. Finally, the third part is called Becoming a Sustainability Leader. And in this part, students reflect their personal path and learn about the education and competencies of sustainability, as well as different thinking tools and methods for the practice of sustainability. And in the end of each 3 parts, there are assignments to return, and these submissions are later shared for peer review. And also at the end of each part, there is also a quiz to complete and the option for forum posting. And these forum posts are not mandatory, but a good way to share thoughts and learn from other students and their perspectives. After going through the course content, meaning the 3 parts, there is a group project to complete. And using a real-world case study, this Make a Change project puts into practice what the students have learned throughout the course. And this actual sustainability change project for a company or other societal actor is made in groups of 3 to 5. And next time the course is organized in the third period of this academic year. Thank you.
Thank you, Heta. And if you have any questions regarding Leadership for Sustainable Change course, please post them to the Q&A chat. Next, we have a short break before we go on to the last 3 Climate University courses that are ClimateComms.now, Statistical Tools for Climate and Atmospheric Science, and Living with Changing Climate. So be back in 15 minutes and we will, 15 minutes and we will continue. Welcome back. We will continue with the Climate University course introductions, and we have 3 more courses to go in this Climate University webinar. Next, we will hear more about the ClimateComms.now course by Bernhard Reichel. Welcome.
Hi. Next slide, please. My name is Bernhard Reichel. I'm a university lecturer at the Institute for Atmospheric and Earth System Research at the University of Helsinki, and I am the responsible teacher for the ClimateComms.now course since 2022. ClimateComms.now is a 2-credit course, and it is offered in English at the University of Helsinki and Lab University of Applied Sciences, and in Finnish at the University of Oulu. Next slide. So in a nutshell, the ClimateComms.now course deals with the role of communication in solving the climate crisis. In the course, the students will learn to identify the different forms of communication related to climate change, understand and critically analyze factors that are characteristic to climate communication and make it so important, but also so very challenging. They will learn about the issues that affect the messengers and recipients of climate change messages. And finally, they will learn about keys to effectively communicate about climate change in theory and practice. The ClimateComms.now course was initially developed by Mia Hulkonen at the University of Oulu and Panu Pihkala at the University of Helsinki. The course material for self-study consists of 4 sections. First, an overview of the history of climate communication, then a definition of what is climate communication, then the importance and challenges in climate communication, and finally, tips on how to communicate about climate change. And the way that we organize the course at the University of Helsinki is that each week the students study 1 section's course material in self-study and complete the corresponding assignments related to that week's material. We also offer weekly online meetings for discussions related to the course and the assignments. At the end of the course, the students will carry out a final project in which they plan and draft their own climate communication piece and will also peer review the project of another student in the course. The course heavily utilizes the DigiCampus platform. So you can see the different sections of the course available on DigiCampus. The section 1 and section 2 offer more of a background on climate communication. Section 1 deals with the development of climate communication, starting from the green movement in the 70s to the current ways of communicating about climate change. Section 2 offers a background in communication theory and different models, and finally sections 3 and 4 provide practical guidelines and examples for students in order to improve their communication skills related to climate change. For each section, there are assignments on DigiCampus, and the students can also submit the weekly assignments on DigiCampus or present them during the online meetings in Zoom. And the instructions and the instructions for the final project, as well as the platform for submitting the final projects and carrying out the peer review, can also be found on DigiCampus. And the link here is the link to the general study material for this course. So if you are interested, please check it out. Criteria for this course are the following. First of all, the students need to submit a minimum of 4 out of the 5 weekly assignments, and each assignment typically consists of 3 to 4 exercises. And then the students have to work individually on their final projects. The final projects are peer reviewed by other students and graded by the teachers of the course. And the grade on the final project will also determine the overall grade for the students in the course. as I mentioned before, in Helsinki, we allow for 2 different ways of submitting the weekly assignments. So this can either be a written submission in DigiCampus before the online meeting, or the students can also present their assignments orally during the discussion in the online meeting. And for the final project, the students should develop their own piece of climate communication. And of course, they should utilize everything that they have learned in the course. So in particular, the final project should contain a clear reflection and justification on the objective, topic, format of their project, and also include a clear definition of the communication stakeholders, the information sources that they have used, the target audience, the frame of the communication, and the level of popularization, and also a definition of success for their piece of climate communication. Next slide. So ClimateComms.now is a short, well-designed, accessible introductory course on climate communication, and it is suitable for students from all sorts of different backgrounds. The skills that the student learn in this course are also very transferable outside of sustainability or climate change communication. I really enjoy teaching this course, in particular the heterogeneous background of the students and the usually quite small number of participants makes for very interesting discussions in the online meetings. And also the open format for the final project leads to very interesting submissions. So over the last couple of years, I have seen pieces of climate communication ranging from Instagram stories over poems, pieces of music. There was a script for a documentary on climate change. So this is really very nice, and it's a pleasure to go through these projects. The course will next be offered in English at the University of Helsinki in period 3, starting in January, and in Finnish at the University of Oulu, also in period 3. There is also an ongoing implementation of the course in English at Lab University of Applied Sciences, which started in September. The course is available to students from those 3 universities, as well as all the partner higher education institutions within the Climate University Network and Open University students. And finally, as part of the development of a new study track in the master's program in atmospheric sciences at the University of Helsinki, we are planning to offer an upgraded version of the course where students will receive 5 credits when they complete the course.
Thank you, Bernhard, for introducing us to ClimateComms.now. If you have any questions regarding the course, you are welcome to post them to the Q&A chat. And next, we move on to the statistical tools for climate and atmospheric science, and I invite Santtu Mikkonen from the University of Eastern Finland to tell us more about it.
Thank you, Laura. So let's have the next slide in the beginning. So I'm Santtu Mikkonen. I'm working as research director at the UEF, and I'm mainly responsible of creating this course. This was one of the first courses started at the Climate University, and it was built on need of different kind of analysis tools for different kind of climate and atmospheric data. So the data introduces the basic statistical methods used in atmospheric and climate science and needed for the data, and it builds on the need what kind of methods students would need in analyzing their own data. In the course, we will go through the basic concept of statistical analysis, most common methods of statistics, and then students will learn how to find the best analysis methods for the data and verify the validity of the method. So for the course, students need to have some kind of knowledge of probability calculus, not really advanced. We're not going really deep in maths in this course, but need to know the basics. And then the students should be capable of some kind of statistical computing, or need to be using some kind of software for that. The course is currently offered by UEF, University of Helsinki, and Hanken. We are at University of East Finland running it biannually, and I think Helsinki has it also biannually, and Hanken has their own schedule for that. Let's have the next slide, please. So why this kind of course was created? Why statistics courses belong to the Climate University, where everything else is kind of more subject-oriented? So this is because these methods are needed to get the results we want, or what the researchers need when they are analyzing the data they got. And lack of proper test or their misuse will cause bias in the analysis and may even create false results. And not understanding the statistics behind the data is also causing lots of problems in all society, not only in climate sciences. So with statistics, you can answer the questions shown here. So what kind of data and how much you would need to collect, how to organize the data, how to analyze the data, what kind of conclusions can you get out of the data. Yeah. So next, please. And yes, these are really crucial for all. So the course contains 3 parts. So there are video lectures. They are pre-recorded, except for the first one, which I'm giving as live online or hybrid lecture every time I give the course. Then there are exercises and coursework, which are built, or they are meant to be made on real measured data. So we're using real data throughout the course so that students would see what kind of problems the methods can answer. And the exercises and the coursework are relying heavily on peer work, so the peer groups are commenting each other's exercises and coursework. And of course, the teacher will evaluate them in the end. But the students will help each other to go through the work. So the course contains 7 modules, consisting online material and exercises. So there are 2 basic modules, introducing different data types and basic methods to explore the data. And also visualization is an important part of the course. Then there are 4 more advanced modules for data analysis. As I said, not going really deep into maths, but showing which kind of methods you can use the problems which might occur when analyzing climate or atmospheric data. And of course, these methods are not specific only for climate data, but they are used in everywhere in science, but the examples are on atmospheric data. And the final module in the course is for validating and reporting the results, which is really important part of any analysis you're doing. Next, please. So the course is also introducing sources for open data. In the early versions of the course, students were using only their own data, but then we introduced this open data because now you can find open data everywhere, and there's repositories where you can download data and use them in your own analysis. So we're also exploiting those. Students are learning statistical terminology, methods usually applied to explore the data, and then basic of testing, and then more advanced or established methods like regression analysis in different kind of situations, analysis variance, time series analysis, and some multivariate methods. Next. And then after the course, the students should be able to find the most suitable method for their data, which they are using in their own analysis, and then prove the validity of the method in their thesis or in their scientific articles. So I'm mainly responsible for the material, but there's still a big group of people behind the course who are create the material and then giving lots of support when building the course. So there's a whole Climate University team, especially Laura and Katja, who have been a huge support in this. And also financial support has been given by lots of different sources. And if you would like to use the course material in your own university, please contact me and I will help you to go through the material and giving hints how to apply the course material. And also, if there's someone who would like to help me updating the material, please contact me also. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Santtu, for introducing us the statistical tools for climate and atmospheric science course. And we have one more course to go today, and that is Living with Changing Climate, and it will be introduced to us by Katja Lauri. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Yes, I am Katja Lauri. I'm working as a research director at the Institute for Atmospheric and Earth System Research in University of Helsinki. I contributed a little bit to the development of this course, and I have been now part of the teaching team last year, and again I will be this year, but I am not the corresponding teacher. The corresponding teacher is Professor Federico Bianchi from the same university, but he was unable to attend today, so I promised to give this presentation. The course is actually built as a collaboration of University of Helsinki and Finnish Meteorological Institute. You only see the logo of the University of Helsinki here because we are currently the only university that's offering the course. It's a rather new course given first time in 2023. It's given at the moment annually on the second teaching period. So the next round will start in a bit more than 3 weeks from now. It's a little bit about the content of the course and the idea of the course. I could say the keywords that are data and decision making. So giving introduction to global change mitigation and adaptation strategies, focusing on actions, gaps, and examples, considering risks and how to find solutions. And it's a 5-credit course. We assume that the students have Climate.now or similar knowledge, basic understanding of climate change. And it's taught in English and fully online as is the practice with the Climate University courses. Next slide, please. The course has 4+1 modules. The 5th one is a little bit different. I will explain briefly. We start with the module 1, introduction, introducing the basic concepts, mitigation and green transition, climate roadmaps and adaptation, risks and solutions for decision making, impacts, extreme events and attribution. And in the module 2, the focus is on weather and climate and their differences, regionality of them, prediction and so on. In the third module, we focus on the data, the sources of especially open data, and how to use the data in the process to support decision making, which comes now into play in the fourth module, where we focus on supporting decision making with data. And all these four modules include online learning material for the students' independent and individual learning. Also, there is an interactive online lecture. Each of these modules is scheduled to be done in one week each. And then there's an exercise set for each of these modules. On the lower part of these figures, you see this Kemijoki case that is a real life example that goes on the side as an example of all these. This is something that we are planning to substitute with a different example, but it is now, at least on this year's course, still part of the story. The fifth module is different. It's project work about everything that the students have learned during the first four modules. The project is done in small groups, and in the end, and we are looking for real life projects that the students find out themselves with advice and help of the teachers of the course. And in the end, they report their findings, both as an oral presentation and a small report. Next slide, please. The course development was a little bit special. It was done as part of a research project funded by the Research Council of Finland, and this collaboration was between the University of Helsinki, Finnish Meteorological Institute, and University of Munich. And the project was called Learning of the Competencies of Effective Climate Change Mitigation and Adaptation in the Education System, also known as ClimateComms. You see the names of the main contributors on the right. And the next slide, please, tells who are teaching the course now. As said, it's Professor Federico Bianchi, who is the corresponding teacher now this year, supported by myself, and Professor Mikko Sipilä, who gives a very important support for this group as being in multiple roles, atmospheric scientist, activist, and politician. We still get some support from experts at Finnish Meteorological Institute, research professor Risto Makkonen, senior researchers Petri Räisänen and Joonas Merikanto, and we are assisted by two doctoral researchers who have been involved from the first round of the course, Eirun Gunnlaugsdottir and Ellinora Ekman, both from INAR. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katja, for presenting us the Living with Changing Climate course. We have still time for questions, either regarding this course or generally about Climate University, if you have any, so please post to the Q&A forum. But overall, thank you so much, all the speakers. This has been a very informative webinar, and as said, there will be a recording coming out of this, so I hope also future teachers or education planners can check the recording and find interesting courses out of it, and more information about how these Climate University courses have been implemented at different higher education institutions in Finland. So thank you so much all the speakers, thank you so much all the organizers, Thank you also all the Climate University coordinators and especially Action Group 3 who made it possible to have this webinar here today. And I think Climate University is all about collaboration, and this is what we have seen here also today. I wish you all a lovely autumn.